High noon it is today, right at the top of the hour. Look at us. Look at us going straight at the top of the hour. All right, let's get the chat room aligned. Make sure everything is okay. Welcome to the show. We do this every Monday through Friday, noon till whenever. And whenever is definitely a fluid time benchmark. Today I got to, okay, I'll explain. First, let me tell you what the show is. Monday through Friday, we do this. It's hot topics, current events. It's everything you need to know about the day. I just, wax poetic, stream of consciousness for a couple of hours every day about all the things that are happening in the world. I try to get y'all prepped up. If it's trending, I tell you. If it's a hot topic, I tell you. If it's all these things, I tell you. Byron is here. Jeff is here. We do it every day, Monday through Friday. We also do a nighttime show called the Radio Misfits. However, there is not going to be a Radio Misfits tonight because it's game day. That's right, game day. My son's got a game, and I go to my son's games. I'm sorry. I just do. Today's High Noon Show is brought to us by our executive producer, Tracy D., with a very nice assist from Christina P. Thank you so much. Executive producers of this show. Thank you to Tracy. Thank you to Christina. They're regular tippers. I appreciate it. That's how this show runs. We do talk radio of a we're not deliberately divisive, right? We are divisive. I'm a divisive guy. Sometimes I say things that people don't like, but I'm not deliberately divisive. We don't do politics. We don't do partisanship. We had none of that nonsense. We try to stay away from that. It's a different kind of talk radio, the kind of talk radio that we used to do in this country. Kind of talk radio we used to do when we'd listen to somebody and go, I don't know how that guy votes. He's kind of all over the place. And that's how most people are. That's changed, and so I'm trying to do it here. So I do appreciate your help. Tip the show if you can. The show does run on your tips. That's how we make it. So please, if you can, help us out as we get to the end of the month here. All right, word to the wise. Let's say hi to everybody. Jen Hernandez is here. Jeff is here. Byron is here. Leslie C. is here. I'm guessing we're not going to have the other Leslie here today. I blocked her on Twitter. Just I can't do it. She's welcome. She hang out, she play nice with everybody. As long as she doesn't. We had a situation last night on the Radio Misfits show where we put some people on trial. We put Byron on trial. You were acquitted though. Don't worry. You were acquitted. I was contacted, as was Ed at Radio Misfits, by one of our fair chatters who said that they demanded someone be banned. And then they said why this person needs to be banned from the chat room. So I actually took the time yesterday and went and looked at all the chats and looked at, the conversations between the two of them. And it just acquitted. Look, I'm not going to cast any blame. I'm not going to say one. All I'm saying is that we're not banning Byron. However, Leslie did not like that. And she came at me on Twitter last night. And I just blocked her. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I don't know what to do. I go way back with her. I don't want to talk about her. I don't want to talk about her. She's a complicated person. I'm a complicated person. But come on, man. We don't need that kind of stuff. Well, everybody needs to just get along. Ain't nobody getting banned from the chat room. You know what? If somebody deserves to be banned, I'll ban them. But ain't nobody deserve to be banned. I'm sorry for those of you who are like, on Team Leslie. That's fine. I don't know why you would be. I mean, she tried to execute Byron, and I thought that was wildly unfair. Byron is abrasive. Byron's fun in the chat room. Byron, we read through the transcript of the back and forth between the two of them. It was funny. Was it anything that someone shouldn't be expected to withstand in a chat room? No. I mean, that's what chat rooms are. But I mean, God, it really upset me. It bugged me. I'm like, oh, Jesus, look at this. What, honestly? And then the way she handled it wasn't great. And so then we went back and forth. Actually, we didn't go back and forth at each other. I will tell you the honest God truth. I have not had any engagement with her outside of just mentioning her in the chat room during a show in a year. She started like contacting me constantly, like we're old college buddies or something. And it was too much. So I was like, I stopped responding. She's going through some stuff. She's going through a divorce. She's got some things. And I just, with all due respect, I don't really know her. She thinks that we know each other really well. I don't really know her. And all I know about her is that she's a listener and she's very high energy and she's very over the top. And, But okay, so that's it. She is always welcome in the chat room. I'm putting this out there. I have no ill will towards her. It's just, man, stop. I don't need the drama. That's all. We don't need the drama. She's very drama. She's not here. That's good, because typically she says, I'm never coming, and she comes back because she likes it here, because for the most part we're all nice. We all get along. It's just, and it's the constant little moral grandstanding that she does. Like, she's always taking these positions on high where she's the moral superior, and it's just a bad vibe, man. Ugh. All right, so that's what happened in the chat room last night as far as the Radio Misfits show goes. Today's show, guys, we got 24 minutes left in the show. I know you hate this, but that's not the full show. I'll come back this afternoon and I'll do something probably in the 2:00 hour. I'll run through all the events and all that kind of stuff. But we are being truncated today because we have a situation occurring at the house at 1:00. So I got to get out of here. So I'm going to get out of here for a little bit. Then we're going to come back and then we're going to do the show. We'll do the show this afternoon. So what we'll do is we'll just run through the opening part of the show that we typically do here. Why not? The wonderful Tracy D and Christina P went to the effort to executive produce this show. So we're going to give you a full show. It's just going to be, there's just going to be a little break. I don't know. You want to go have lunch, something like that. That's fine. So that's how it's going to go. All right, let's get started with today's show. Today is, it's the High Noon Show. By the way, I made an effort to get right on at noon, because I'm like, if I'm going to sign off at 12:30 for like an hour, I got to sign off at noon. I got to be right on at noon. All right, so let's get started. It is the High Noon Rant Report. I don't know, show. It's the High Noon Rant for the 28th day of September, year of our Lord, 2023. September 28th is the 271st day of the year. There are 94 days remaining until the end of the year. So as we like to say around these parts, get those New Year's Eve plans started. All right, first segment. We like to do a little thing we call Erstwhile on this day. It's a look back at this day in time. Previously on September the 28th. On this day in 1779, American Revolution. That's right, it was during the Revolution, 1779. Samuel Huntington is elected president of the Continental Congress, succeeding John Jay. I know who John Jay is, Supreme Court. I don't know who Samuel Hunting is. I don't know who Samuel. Do you guys know who John Hanson is? I bet you guys don't know who John Hanson is. John Hanson is a bit of a bar trick. And it's historically debated, although given credibility among all historians. John Hanson was the first president of the United States. Oh, I know what you're saying. You're saying, no, that's George Washington. No, that's not true. There was a United States like a couple of weeks before the actual United States. There was a different United States that the Continental Congress set up, and they made John Hanson of Maryland the first president of the United States. And they moved on from that and they went with George. But you know what I'm saying? Technically, John Hanson. And technically, on this day, someone named Samuel Huntington briefly ran everything. On this day in 1892, the first night game for American football takes place in a contest between Wyoming Seminary School and Mansfield State. 1892, the first night football game. Look at that. On this day in 1928, Alexander Fleming notices a bacteria killing mold that's growing in his laboratory. He decides to investigate. It later becomes known as penicillin. Oh, there you go. See, curiosity. Curiosity. He's looking at a mold. He's like, I wonder what that's all about. No, we got penicillin. On this day in 1941, Ted Williams achieves a .406 batting average for the season and becomes the last Major League Baseball player to bat 400 or better in a season. Major League Baseball, it is an entire sport that is predicated on failure, on the acceptance of failure. Think about that. 400, he batted 400 for a season. That means every 10 times he came up to plate, he made an out. Or six out of every 10 times he came up to the plate, he made an out. And he's the greatest hitter of all time. He only succeeded 4 out of 10 times. And he's the greatest to ever do it. Ted Williams. You succeed 3 out of 10 times over a career in Major League Baseball, and you're going to the Hall of Fame. You're a career 300 hitter. It's unbelievable. It's why it's such a beautiful sport. Teaches you how to fail. On this day, Ted Williams, last guy to hit 400, 406. On this day in 1995, Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin and PLO Chairman Yasser Arafat signed the interim agreement on the West Bank of the Gaza Strip. West Bank and the Gaza Strip, 2 separate places. I sound like an idiot Westerner, which I am. Okay, so this was the start of some problems here, because this was the beginning of the, I don't know, the certification of the PLO, Yasser Arafat, a terrorist organization who now suddenly, after 30 years in the terror game, decided they wanted to be a legitimate political party and be recognized on the world stage. Yeah, I don't know. A little bit of problem, but hey, didn't fix anything because, as we know, the Middle East is still a mess. All right, there you have it. Those are the events of today. Now it's time to talk about birthdays. Buana. These people having birthdays. I hit the wrong button. Boom. There we go. Birthdays. Boom. All right. This is where we go through some of the people who were born on this day, and we just decide whether or not we like them or not. It's kind of the long and the short of it. Born on this day in 551 BC. We're going way back into the Wayback Machine. 551 BC. Happy birthday, Confucius. Wait. Confucius. Shus. I have such a problem with that word. Shus. I have a problem with L's. Oh, I have lazy O's. O's, I say oh. I have problems with O's, and I have problems with shus. Shus. Confucius. Confucius say, great philosopher, Chinese teacher, politician. Born on this day in 551 BC. Born on this day in 1836, Thomas Crapper. We mentioned him because he's fun. Thomas Crapper did not invent the plumbing. He did not invent the toilet. People are like, Thomas Crapper invented the toilet. Nah, I didn't technically invent the toilet. You know what he did invent? The ball cock. That's right. Thomas Crapper, dude's name was Crapper. He invented that ball in your toilet that rises and flushes automatically. Man, that's awesome. Here's the thing, though. Otto Titzling did not invent the brassiere. That's not true. That's a little bit of like historical mythology. Otto Titzling did not invent the bra. However, Thomas Crapper did invent the ball cock in the toilet system. That's pretty good. Born on this day in 1901, William S. Paley, American broadcaster, founder of the Tiffany Network, CBS. Paley was a big baller in the early days of American media. William Paley, born on this day in 1901. Born on this day also in 1901, same day as William Paley. Oh my God, these two were a kusum twosome for years on television. William Paley as the boss and Ed Sullivan as the biggest star in CBS. They were umbilical cousins. Look at that. William S. Paley and Ed Sullivan, born on the same day, same year. Born on this day in 1934, someone who is absolutely hotter than Marilyn Monroe, yet we all just kind of pretend Marilyn Monroe is the hottest thing in the world at this time. Born on this day in 1934, the incredibly hot Brigitte Bardot. Brigitte Bardot was hotter than Marilyn Monroe. There's another one. Marilyn Monroe was the most beautiful. Marilyn Monroe was a Dayton 9. That's what she was. She was a Cleveland 9.5. Marilyn Monroe was a Dallas 7. She was a Los Angeles 6. She's overrated is what I'm saying. I don't know how she got that rep, but she's Brigitte Bardot, born on this day, better looking than Marilyn Monroe. Born on this day in 1934. Born on this day in 1964. Here is someone that is just so mid to me. She's just, I liked her. Like the first time I saw her, she was in a sketch comedy show, the Ben Stiller show back in the early 90s. And she was very funny. And then she started doing stand-up comedy. I'm like, okay, she's interesting. This is interesting stand-up comedy. But it was all very pretentious, elitist, and preachy. And it started to wear thin on me. So I am not wishing a happy birthday to the very mid Janine Garofalo. Ugh. So preachy. God, she just thinks she's so much better than everybody else. God, that need, that desire to project that image of yourself speaks to some real damage that you just have to, in all turns, you have to be the moral authority, the preachy one, the one who knows that. I speak of what I know, people. I don't just rant about these things. I've been in therapy for a lot of years. Not in a lot of years. I haven't been in therapy in years. I'd love to go back. I just got to deal with it this way. Anyway, Janine Garofalo, she's a weirdo. Born on this day in 1964. Born on this day in 1967, Mira Sorvino. Mira Sorvino, she's the actress daughter of Paul Sorvino. Mira Sorvino won an Oscar Is she the one that won the Oscar and everybody was like, that was a mistake? I don't know. For some reason, when I think of Mira Sorvino, Oscar winner, I think, yeah, that was kind of a mistake, wasn't it? Mira Sorvino, happy birthday. Born on this day in 1967. Also born on this day in 1967. How about a happy birthday to Moon Unit Zappa? Frank Zappa's daughter. Moon Unit was born in 1967 on this day. She, of course, had a hit in the 80s with Valley Girl. She's a Valley Girl. Okay, fine. For sure. Valley Girl is the whole, she was ground zero for the whole Valley Girl phenomenon of the 1980s. Moon Unit Zappa celebrating a birthday today. Also celebrating a birthday today, born on this day in 1968. How about Naomi Watts? I like Naomi Watts. Here's the weird thing about Naomi Watts. You see Naomi Watts and you're like, wow, she's a 10. And then you see her like around other people and you're like, wow, she's 4'5". She's tiny. Naomi Watts is a lot small. And you know what I think? Actually, maybe she's not as small as I think she is. It's just that she's friends with Nicole Kidman. And Nicole Kidman is bigger than I think she is. So when Nicole Kidman stands next to Naomi Watts, yeah, it's two beautiful women, but they're different sized. One is like a king size. That's Nicole Kidman. She's probably like 5'11". Like she's like a model height. And then there's Naomi Watts. How tall is Naomi Watts? She's married to Ray Donovan, or at least she was. I think they're going through an ugly divorce. How tall is Naomi Watts? She's 5'5". Okay, she's 5'5". That's what it is. It's when she's standing next to her friend Nicole Kidman that she looks so small. All right, moving on. Happy birthday, Naomi Watts. She was married to Ray Donovan actor Liev Schreiber, but now I don't know if they're married anymore. Born on this day in 1968, Naomi Watts. Born on this day in 1979. Here's a guy that's been in the news a lot. We've been talking about him. Born on this day in 1979, Bam Margera. Bam Margera. What's the latest with Bam Margera? There was like they were looking for him, right? Because he was doing drugs and he wanted his kid, and it's just a real ugly, sad situation. Moving on. Bam Margera, born on this day in 1979. Born on this day in 1982. Here's a cool one. Here's one of the locals here in Dallas who's just so cool. Just cool. Just everything about her is cool. St. Vincent celebrating a birthday today. St. Vincent. Songwriter, producer, performer, Lake Highlands grad, right? I know she's a Lake Highlands grad. Burst onto the scene, Polyphonics Free, right? I think that's where she sort of was birthed from initially. Went on to have incredible solo success. Not really she's not number one on the Billboard chart, but critically acclaimed, man. St. Vincent is beloved by the critics. And she's a local girl, very cool chick. St. Vincent, born on this day in 1982. Never met her, never saw her, just know of her. Born on this day in 1987, celebrating a birthday today. How about the lovely, I don't know anything about this person, Hilary Duff. I don't know anything about Hilary Duff. Who was she? Was she Sabrina? I don't know. I was late 20s when these kids started popping out. I wasn't really paying attention. Was Hilary Duff Sabrina? Or was Hilary Duff a different one? Wasn't there a Haley Duff? Isn't there a couple of Duffs? I don't know. We're moving on. All right, that's going to do it for the birthdays. Buonam. They said it's their birthday. Now, let's move on to the next segment of today's show. It's the next segment of every show. We do it in order. We do it in quarters. First quarter, erstwhile on this day. Second quarter, birthdays. Third quarter, this is where we're at. Heaven or hell, we're going to go through the people who have died historically on this day, and we're going to decide whether or not they have gone on to heaven or hell based on our interpretations of what, prerequisites for both of those landing spots are. All right, let's get started. Dead on this day in 1891, Herman Melville. Herman Melville, author. He wrote Moby Dick. Yeah, what else? Like you're writing Moby Dick, and you're like, yeah, and what do you mean, and? He wrote Moby Dick. All right, he goes to heaven, I guess, right? Every kid had to read that book. No kid ever wanted to read that book. Basically, every kid read that book and went, that's a good book. Moby Dick. There you go. Herman Melville. Was he Moby Dick? Wait, hold on. Now I got to I think it's Moby Dick. Let me click on him. I didn't click on him. I just went Herman Melville, Moby Dick. Moby Dick. Yeah, okay, that's him. Just had to make sure because, you know. Although Leslie is not there to be a corrector sin, Adam still hangs around. Adam likes to corrector sin. If I got Herman Melville wrong, there would be hell to pay from Adam. Dead on this day in 1895. How about Louis Pasteur? Louis Pasteur, he's going to heaven, right? Louis Pasteur. Pasteurization. He made it so we could drink milk. Why we drink milk? I come from a dairy family. Like my grandfather was a milkman. He ran a milk business. He delivered milk and all that kind of stuff. So we're all about milk, and we always had milk, and we always had dairy. Why do we drink milk? Like, I understand human milk and all that kind of stuff. That's what babies feed on. But why did we go to? I mean, okay, I'm fine with it. I love a nice ice cold glass of milk and some chocolate chip cookies. That's awesome. It's just weird. It is weird though that like it's like a body. We don't drink any other body fluids from animals. What other body fluids? You know what I mean? That's like, I don't know, whatever. Mother's milk, that's what it means. All right, Louis Pasteur, he's going to heaven because of pasteurization and babies and stuff. I don't know, right? Did babies die drinking milk before? What? I don't know. Dead on this day in 1964, Harpo Marx. Harpo Marx, one of the great Marx brothers. I love the Marx brothers. When I started my son's cultural education at a very young age, and some of the earliest stuff that I showed him was Three Stooges, Little Rascals, and Marx Brothers. Just because there's not a whole lot of wit there. Like if you're 5, you're just watching people bonk each other over the head and do a slapstick comedy, and it's a nice basis, I think, for comedy. We also watched some Pink Panther movies, but I quickly determined that the Peter Sellers nuanced comedic performance was a little too much for him at 5 or 6. He wasn't really appreciating it the way I wanted him to. But Harpo Marx was someone that he took to right away. Harpo Marx the Marx brothers are incredible comedic actors. Harpo Marx in particular is the gymnast of the group. Harpo Marx, of course, he acted in pantomime. He didn't speak. He had his horn, honk, honk, but he did so much incredible comedic acting with his body, with his face. Harpo Marx laughs aplenty. You better damn well believe that he's in heaven. Harpo Marx. Dead on this day in 1964. He's in heaven. Dead on this day in 1991. How about Miles Davis? Miles Davis. American trumpet player, composer, band leader, Miles Davis. He's the guy. He's like everybody who loves, I don't know from jazz. Sure, it's cool. I don't know. I've just never really. Yeah, you know, I don't, it's not my thing. Like, I understand musicians like being into that, but I'm not a musician. So, you know, I'm just there listening to the noise, and all I'm hearing is noise. That's what Miles Davis was to me. Oh, you troglodyte. Yeah, I know. I'm prehistoric. Miles Davis is in hell, though. I mean, there's just no way to cut it. Miles Davis, to separate the art from the artist, Miles Davis may have been a tremendous artist, and he moved his form forward for generations to come. All of that good stuff. But he was also a crazy drug addict and an abuser, and, you know, he did all kinds of like terrible things. So sorry, Miles, go play that horn in hell, pal, because you did some things while you were here that don't get you there. Dead on this day in 2022, 1 year ago today, this person passed away. How about this one, huh? 1 year ago today, Coolio died. American rapper, gangsta, Paradise Coolio. Yeah, Coolio's in that, right? I don't know. What is Julio? Do I need to? Coolio's background. What's his background? Like, if it turns out like he went to jail, he was on murder charge, you know, a lot of those guys coming out of that scene from back then. It wasn't a Los Angeles like hardcore gangster scene guy, but he wasn't gangster. He was Coolio. He was like that music was mainstreamed, right? But like before that Michelle Pfeiffer movie, like what was Coolio's vibe on the street? Was he like kind of? I don't know. Let's see here. Coolio, his mother was born in Compton. Played board games with his mom. He started rapping as a teenager. It's called Coolio because for Julio Iglesias. He became addicted to crack cocaine in the 1980s, but quit drugs after spending time living with his father in San Jose, crediting Christianity for helping him get over his addiction. There, he worked for the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection. Coolio, he's in heaven. Come on, it sounds like he had some things. Yeah, I don't see any real problems. Like, gun charges or beating women. Maybe. I don't know, but I don't want to read anymore. Okay, Coolio, he gets to go into heaven. We're just going to put him into heaven. Because why not? He had silly hair and he was funny and that song was good. And then Weird Al made that song, the parody song of it. And that was good too. So, we don't get that without Coolio. Coolio goes to heaven. All right, guys, that is going to do it. That is going to do it for the first half of this show. And this isn't even the first half because we're going to do it much longer when we come back. But I got to step away. We've got to allow the studio to be open here for a few minutes. So I've got to step away. So I'm going to take a break, probably be back. Can't imagine I'd be back any later than 2:00. That'll be the absolute latest, but we'll put another, what do they call it? Warning, or I guess like I'll schedule another show. So you'll see that. And we'll come back later this afternoon and we will finish everything up. Appreciate you being with us. Thank you so much to the people who helped make this half of the show possible. And by the way, he's still the producers. Don't worry, Tracy D, Christina P, who helped us out. They're still the executive producers on the second half, but we do thank you for the help. And thank you to everybody who helps support this kind of talk radio, non-divisive, non-political. We will get into all of the hot topics and current events, trends, and headlines when we come back on the other side of this. I thank you for your patience. And like I said, we'll be back in just a little bit. Bye, everybody.